now I'm just thinking about Family Computers. Like, that's weird. Yeah, Famicom.
Dragon Quest PC game confirmed.
It was developed by Chunsoft and released by
Avocados.
Phoenix. What's that?
Sorry, I know every time I see the Chunsoft logo, I think of like half an avocado.
Oh, all right.
Okay, I guess I'll be the only one on that one.
Well, I'm not super familiar with these companies and their logos. So,
Oh, okay.
who would get that is Alex
Or Chris.
or Chris. Yeah,
Yeah.
Chris would get it too. That's BioPhoenix. Make sure you check out BioPhoenix channel.
Right?
He's great.
Yep. BioPhoenix.
All right. Let's talk about the gameplay here. Well, let's start out with the story, I guess, and we'll move on to the gameplay because it kind of happens right after. I was interested to realize like there's actually kind of an in-depth backstory, which they do go into in the game, but you have to like kind of soak it in from different NPCs to kind of understand.
One thing I did want to kind of say about this too, and yeah, no, I agree. This is a game where you discover by talking to NPCs. But what Yuji Hoри's vision for this game was to realize this kind of rich story experience. I don't know how well this first game does it, but to see that there was this kind of interwoven tapestry of story, like preconceived into this, and that like I think Dragon Quest 3 would go on to be like the prequel, and then it continues into Dragon Quest 2 is pretty interesting. So I just want to throw that in there.
Absolutely. I would say if you were to ask me my opinion, I would say I think he kind of failed on this one.
Absolutely.
But yeah, you're right. It's totally interesting that he attempted it, which again, if you think about 1986, it's like this is a game where the guy jumps. It's like they didn't need to try that hard, and he certainly seemed to give it more of an effort than most.
It's a story everyone can relate to. Male saving the princess.
He did.
In which that's completely optional.
Yeah, you can. That hurt. So the story's background begins, and this is from Wikipedia. When the kingdom of Alfgard was shrouded in permanent darkness, the brave warrior Erdrick defeated an evil creature and restored light to the land. And Erdrick's possession was the Ball of Light, which he used to drive away enemies who threatened the kingdom. Erdrick handed the Ball of Light to King Lorik, and Alfgard remained peaceful for a long time. The Ball of Light kept winters short in Alfgard and helped maintain peace and prosperity for the region. Yada, 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 yada. One guy shunned the Ball of Light's radiance and secluded himself in a mountain cave. And he eventually, yada, yada, yada. There's a Dragon Lord. He's a bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
And so he destroys towns, including Hawksness, which we'll get to later. And that one remains in ruins. So the following day, Erdrick arrives at Tantagel Castle, and that's our home castle, to speak with King Lorik, and offered his help to defeat the Dragon Lord. After searching the land for clues to the Dragon Lord's whereabouts, Erdrick found that the Dragon Lord lived on an island that could be accessed only via a magical bridge that only a rainbow drop could generate, of course. After venturing to the island, Erdrick was never heard from again. Many years later, the Dragon Lord attacked the kingdom again and captured Princess Gwaelin. Many heroes tried to rescue the princess and recover the Ball of Light from the Dragon Lord's castle called Charlock, but none succeeded. The prophet Maheda predicted that one day a descendant of the valiant Erdrick shall come forth to defeat the Dragon Lord. However, when the descendant arrives, many of the people of Alfgard have forgotten the story of Erdrick, and those who do remember consider it a myth and do not believe in Maheda's prophecy. So there we are in the backstory of Dragon Warrior, which reading that is really, honestly, probably more text about what is going on in this world than I think the game included.
Probably.
It's like we're Dark Soulsing it.
Yeah.
Did you know about this like backstory, and how much of this were you like even aware of?
No, so I read this before we came into the video today, and I just knew about the Ball of Light, which I totally forgot was a thing. The Ball of Light. What kind of thing is that? Oh, Heavenly Lord, protect us with this Ball of Light.
Yeah.
Like I'm imagining this keeping away the dragons from your whole city. How does that work? Does it just enshroud your city with light?
Just makes it super bright. Dragons
And
don't
dragons clearly don't like the light,
like
based on every interpretation I've ever read.
it.
I did know about the ancestry of Erdrick and that the main character in Dragon Quest 1 was a descendant or something like that. You go on later in the game to learn about that. Not too much later, so we could talk about that. I didn't know that the Dragon Lord was actually human. But he's supposedly a dragon. I don't, maybe I'm imagining a lot of this stuff was in the manual in the NES game.
Oh, maybe.
So prior to like starting this up, that's where you would get that background info.
Yeah. And the game would just completely ignore it while you're
Right.
playing.
Yeah. Because you can't fit like all of that data onto the cartridge or something.
Yeah.
So anyways, I didn't know all of that info, but I mean, it's a lot to say a little. That just to set up that the main character is legendary, and he's gonna save the day, and that the king's like trying to commission you to do it. So,
yeah, I feel bad because part of me likes it. Part of me likes that there's all this story, and you kind of get it in little bits and pieces from talking to the NPCs. I mean, but it is so scattershot that you're never going to come up with that whole story. Like you'll get
and that's why I think part of this is like you had to have been there and done that. Like I know people in Americas were reading the Nintendo Power previews to this stuff.
Oh, and maybe there's explanations in there about it.
Mm-hmm. So I think in the times when you could really just commit yourself to a game and like the information in it, and you really just soak through all the information, versus we're in kind of a rapid fire culture nowadays. This is the kind of game that would just like people would look back and be like, "This sucks." Like, what, this is so simple. Like,
that's true.
And here we are discovering this after the fact, as it is. So,
yeah. Well, that leads us up to the main story. You have arrived at Tantagel Castle. The princess has been captured. You will...
Oh, no.
Yeah. You got to defeat the Dragon Lord. The princess is captured, and you have to defeat the Dragon Lord. Those are unrelated.
Right. The princess is trivial here. We have to save the castle.
If you can save the princess, she'll marry you. But you really need to save the castle by killing that Dragon Lord. I just love that. Like, it's so... Oh, man. Like, as far as storytelling goes, it's really bad because, like, there's no... You're very split in what you're supposed to do, and they don't seem to care about either that much.
Mm-hmm. Like, that king is a real shallow NPC.
Yeah.
Oh, no. The kingdom is destroyed. Please, you must destroy the Dragon Lord, child. Recover the ball of light.
Yeah. That's kind of.
And by the way, you could save, and I'll tell you how many experience points you have. And you could save my daughter.
Yeah,
that would be nice.
She's pretty hot.
You might like her. I'll tell you what. You save her. I'll give you her hand in marriage. By the way, what's your name again? 4 characters only.
Make it short.
My name is Ted. Ted. 2 D's. Okay, fine. You could just put Ted, T-E-D.
Oh my goodness. You do a little bit of exploring. You find things like in the desert cave. Erdrick has outlined what you need to do.